What video game did you play and love, but can remember almost nothing about? Tenchu, Stealth Assassins on original PlayStation. I was about 8 when this came out, and remember giving out poison rice and flying about with a grappling hook pretty much. That game was so damn hard, but so satisfying. This game introduced me to the concept of stealth. You mean I'm not overpowered and can't kill everyone in sight by button mashing and have to sneak around to survive? Apostrophe. It needs a reboot. Sekiro started as a new Tenchu, but kinda veered off onto its own. But from have said it's definitely a spiritual successor. Road Rash. I remember a few of the other riders' names were Ruda Boy and Biff. The sound the baton would make when you hit another rider. Boink. I remember playing this in front of my grandmother. She was all, "How can you play a game where you speed on the road and punch people?" Up until she heard that bonk. Then she was on board. Haha. The same thing happened with my mom in GTA 3 until she saw me driving on the sidewalk to bypass traffic and whip out the flamethrower to take out some cops on my tail. She then watched for an hour cackling the whole time. The only game she had enjoyed watching me play before that was Harvest Moon because she liked how peaceful it was. Myst. I didn't know shit about Myst when I was playing it. How am I supposed to remember it? Question mark. Ape Escape. Something about catching monkeys with a big net. I knew I wasn't the only one. Favorite PS1 game by far. I loved how the music would change and get softer when you went prone. Nice touch. The Encarta Encyclopedia had a game inside of it called Mind Maze. Fucking loved it. Couldn't tell ya how it worked exactly. Haha. Edit. Someone gave me gold. Thank you. Now I get to see how the magic of Reddit gold works. You were in a maze. To move through doors and halls, you had to answer trivia questions. Multi-choice. You'd get through the maze on one level, then use the stairs to get to the next. You'd get scored on how quickly you answered. You could immediately click on an answer, and if you got it wrong, time was essentially paused, so you could get the right answer with a higher score. Is that the game that said, well, even a stopped clock is right twice a day? I remember that passive aggressive bullshit well. Wasn't that You Don't Know Jack? Yep. Definitely not Mind Maze. You Don't Know Jack was a blast. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg for the Gamma Cube. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Anon. I adored this game. I never really understood it. Just stay away from the dark shadow white people and push around huge eggs to make them hatch. Freddy Fish and Pajama Sam. Edit. Freddy Fish was a girl. Thanks to many of you. These two along with Spy Fox and Putt Putt. How could I forget? Pajama Sam. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. All those games are on Steam now. Why you do this? Me and my GF got drunk one night and marathoned Pajama Sam, Putt Putt, and Freddy Fish, and that was pretty much the best thing ever. Just trying to share the love. That sounds like a solid night, my dude. One of the Tony Hawk games. Not even sure which one. I just remember TNT being one of the songs in it and playing it for hours. Pretty sure that was Pro Skater 4. I used to play that for hours too. Loved playing as Jango Fett. Correct. And Moon Gravity for those amazing airwalks. Army Men 3rd. I'm gonna need a sweeper. Rally round boys. Apostrophe. A bazooka. Apostrophe. I'll have that hit the spot. Apostrophe. I've played the ship out of the Army Men games. Or the ear-splitting Sarge is dead. Yeah, I heard that a lot. Golden Sun on Game Boy Advance. My very first RPG. That ship was magical back in the day. It still is. Man, I remember spending a warm summer afternoon in my dad's stuffy car getting my ass pyroclasmed over and over again by Satyrus and Minardi. I was so happy that I finally beat them. I did an impromptu I beat Satyrus and Minardi song and dance out in the parking lot, haha. It's so ducking weird how I barely remember anything about it though. All I have is this nondescript yet overwhelming feeling that it was a really good game. Took me a long while to beat them. When I was 11, I was overjoyed. I finally got them. My quest was over. Then the screamed king shitted and a giant two-headed dragon monstrosity skullfucked my whole party. And the music. The ducking music was amazing all game long. But in that moment it only helped me to panic even more than I already was. A few years ago I went back and played 1 and 2 back to back. to 100% completion. This time, I was ready. If Deadbird had fallen to me, they would, too. And they did. The only bastard I haven't killed yet is Dullahan. Even with a full LVL 99 party his hard as balls. You can summon rush him, if you just want the win. But it feels cheap. I beat him by forging a bunch of Excalibur swords, and equipping those in crit. Boosting items to get the critical pretty much every attack. Another thing that helps, is to use one of the Jupiter Djinn, Laugh maybe, to skip his move that drains all your Djinn. His moves are on a timer, like every 7 rounds or so. So you use Laugh right before, and your Djinn are safe for a while. You should definitely give it a shot though. The summon you get from Dullahan is amazing. The enemies get flung away from the battle into the sun. Then all 8 in your party are fully healed and revived. Destroy all humans. This is it for me. I remember loving the duck out of that game, but I don't remember it too much. Something about possessing people's bodies and abducting cows. I really gotta find a way to play that again. Both 1 and 2 were upscaled for PS4 at 15 quid each, but for this box one it's just the first one I think. Currently replaying 2 and it is so much fun. The first one was really just a proof of concept. I remember hiring it and clocking it before I had to give it back, which young me had never done before, and I got kinda bored with it. The second one was magic though. Really one of my favorite games, might have to dust off the old PS2 emulator. 2 is so good, and as a kid I never completed it, not even close. So getting to enjoy the story for basically the first time. That side mission in Bay City, where you phone home, feels 100% harder than I remember though. In Japan and still haven't completed that one. The 7-Up game for the Sega Genesis. Edit. Cool spot. Cool spot right. I think that's what it was called. Sly Cooper. All I remember is crawling along a set of rooftops and going on one tightrope in particular. I remember literally nothing else, except for the fact that I had the time of my life playing that game. Jet Set Radio Future I think it was called. It came with a Sega game. All I remember is spray painting and roller skates, but man I spent a lot of time on it. If you played it on Xbox it came in a double pack with Sega GT Rally 2002. Sega GT 2002 was my jam. I bought the dinkiest car and worked on it and raced until I saved up enough money to buy a freaking sweet one. Might have been the Lotus Esprit. I remember driving that one a lot. My new car catalyzed my winning the drag circuit and the awesome prize cars. I remember using the Dodge Charger to beat and win the Chevy SS Chevelle. I also loved that I could burn my favorite album onto the hard drive and listen to it as the in-game music. God I miss that game. Edit. Fat fingers. Oddworld. Abs Odyssey. Hello. Hello. Follow me. Okay. Fart. God it's so bizarre how I totally can hear all of that again. That game always kind of scared me as a kid. This new kind of meat. It was us. Apostrophe. It's a pretty frightening story for a kid's game. Right? From what I remember a whole race of people are enslaved and then Abe finds out that when they die they get turned into food for the overlords. You have to help Abe escape his hellish prison. It's creepy. Not even that they're using the dead ones for food. The company intends to kill living ones for their new food product. The original Tomb Raider. I remember shooting wolves in a cave and turning into gold during a King Midas level, but nothing else. Was that the one where you locked up your butler in the freezer and, presumably, starved him to death? I think that was Tomb Raider 2nd. Bomberman 64 I don't exactly remember what to do, but I remember loving it. Getting all the secrets in this game is a lot harder than you remember. I just started a new playthrough. High up. Huh. Ratchet and Clank. I remember spending ages killing a bunch of piranha things to get a hoverboard or something like that. And then the NPC kept saying I hadn't killed all 150, even though I had. Annoyed me so much. I also remember a really fun water pipe that was at the end of a long quest thing. I had it on PS2. Then we got rid of it, and I still wish we hadn't. Years later, there was still so much left to unlock. My favorite all-time game series, Up Your Arsenal, is my personal go-to video game. I'd do anything for a remake for PS4. They did remasters for all the PS2 ones that are on the PSN. Only problems are a couple graphics glitches here and there, but otherwise it's the same game with faster loading times. Simpson Hit and Run, or one of the Pokémon games on the GameCube. Hit and Run was, and still is, a great game. It was GTA for those of us too young to play GTA. My dad would get pissed that I was playing GTA at my mom's house. I was like 8 at the time, so I started playing Hit and Run to ease my guilty conscience. Jade Empire. I can only remember fighting a giant elephant demon. One of the coolest enemies I ever faced in a game. For the PC fans out there who remember DOS mode, Jill of the Jungle, Lemmings, Croc 2. Lemmings was the shit. Also from that moment in time, The Incredible Machine. Lemmings made my 5-year-old brain have an aneurysm. Red Faction. I just remember really liking that game, and the second one was fun too. Geomed technology. Blow holes in walls until you end up with a mega janky tunnel. Nice. I remember a multiplayer level with 2 opposing forts where my buddies and I tunneled to the middle like France and England. Sadly there was an invisible wall between the 2 halves of the map. Underground lol. There wasn't above ground level. We tunneled across the level through the walls. There was a maximum level of how much you could destroy. Like I remember the level where you're in a canyon with the 2 bases facing each other, and my brother and I destroyed so much of the map that the game stopped registering when you were destroying shit. That's the level we did this on. I guess we were lucky to finish our base 2 base tunnel before we hit the cap lol. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. My favorite thing is Kossi's telling a story. If you eat ship and die, he says no, that's not right, or no, that's not what happened. I used to always laugh so hard when he said that, especially when I die in the same spot over and over because I was stuck. Like he was sat there telling a story and he gets to a bit where he's like, I ran across the wall but missed the ledge and fell to my death, and oh wait, no, that's not what happened. What happened was I ran across the wall and missed the ledge and then fell to my, no, that's not right. Apostrophe. Well, he did die. That's the problem. He gets confused when telling the story because he remembers both surviving an event and dying during the same event. Time travel caused him to relive the event twice or more, so he has to sort out the version that ends with him being alive. Gauntlet Legends on the GameCube. You mean Gauntlet? Dark Legacy Legends was N64. Turbo Attack. Sustenance. Red Warrior needs food badly. Red Wizard is greedy. God, that game was the ship with 4 people. I think Monster Rancher is the game. I had it for PlayStation, and it was awesome. But don't remember much about it other than you can breed cool monsters. Yes, it is. You can also use CDs to make new monsters. Perfect Dark for the N64. The only thing I really remember is customizing the meat sims and my aunt getting so pissed she called it the fucking game. Ever since then, we've referred to it as GFG, and I have a hard time remembering its actual name. If you remember GoldenEye, it was exactly the same kind of gamma play, but with more guns and a plot about aliens. It was so much better than GoldenEye, yet whenever I talk to someone, that's always the answer to FPS games on the N64. Yes, it has all the GoldenEye levels in multiplayer as well as more. But the big thing is you can play against AI bots with varying levels of difficulty. I remember my fiend and I would play this every weekend where he and I and one hilariously fast speed sim would go against like 8 meat sims. Tomba. Maybe because like me, you had the demo and played the shit out of it and never got to play the main game. Hahaha, I relate to this so hard. I still laugh with the curiosity about what the Duck That game was about. I've played that game about 100 times. Don't worry, it doesn't make any more sense when you play the whole thing. Still a super fun WTF ride though. Time Splitters 2. Lol. Played that first snow level so many times it was like I could do it with my eyes closed. The reason you don't remember much about that game is because the story was all over the damn place through time. Lol. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Something about collecting different boomerangs. If I had the chance, I'd definitely try it again. Edit. I've bought the games on Steam, and so should you. Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker. I'm playing through it again, and I don't remember anything, but I remember playing the duck out of it. I don't like replaying it because I don't like leaving grandma. You're left grandma? Why? For that dumbass girl? Believe me, the game's way better if you just chill on the island for the entirety of your natural life. Nakus, then Gma gets all sad that Errol is kidnapped, so you have to beat the game and get Errol back as Granny's company, and then you have guilt-free adventures. I'm late, but on the off chance anyone sees it, Echo the Dolphin. I was obsessed with that game as a kid, and now I don't remember anything about it besides being a dolphin and sometimes doing jumps. Edit. Thank you all for triggering my memory. This game was hard as shit. I'm going to go look at some gameplay on YouTube and reminisce. Close bracket. Yes. Exclamation mark. I used to play this all the time in the early levels, when you were just swimming and punching things with your dolphin nose. I also remember an octopus and a cave level. My friend and I stayed up all night once to get to the end and were pissed when we found out it was all about aliens. We just wanted to swim around and eat fish till Echo the Dolphin was about aliens. Ain't that some shit? Legend of the Dragoon. I remember a 30 minutes final boss battle with approximately 13 different forms. I remember most of the epic boss fights they nerfed your Dragoon form. I remember a boss fight where, if a character transforms into Dragoon form, he will proceed to one-hit kill that character no matter what. Because he had a special sword meant for killing Dragoons, so it makes sense. ToeJam and Earl. I remember playing it on a friend's old Sega, and we all loved it. I can't find anyone who remembers it either. Instead of going up the elevators, you can find a hole on the bottom floor that takes you to a special zone with a bar, hot tub and loads of hula dancers. Secret of Mana for Super Nintendo. I remember a good soundtrack, beautiful colors, good storyline that kept you engaged, but I can't tell you the storyline. TL. Dr. Kid pulls sword from stone. Turns out to be the next Mana Knight. Collects mana seeds to energize the sword and uses it to kill an evil, wannabe, body-snatching sorcerer who wants to rule the world with a mana-powered flying warship. And then the Mana Beast shows up to destroy the warship, and you as the player kill/defeat the Mana Beast because that saves the world because of reasons. Bugs Bunny, Lost in Time. Anyone remember Dark Cloud? You'd use like a bracelet and gather various parts of towns like a bank or a house or some trees that were in spheres and dungeons, and you'd construct the town to your liking, but setting it up certain ways would give you rewards. I also remember a cat girl. I remember very little about that game too besides what you said, and also that cat Gerald had a slingshot weapon you could get that talked mostly smack about the enemies you were fighting. I loved that weapon and was pissed beyond belief when I accidentally let it break. What? Exclamation mark. You killed Steve. Spiro. Damn, I just checked Reddit since last night, hahaha. Glad I wasn't the only one. I honestly don't remember much from the game other than it being really cool and creative. I'd buy a new one though, lol. All those memories are gonna come flooding back in next month. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.